Welcome to the Authors Show, where we feature new authors and books, from fiction to self-help and everything in between. You'll find it all at theauthorshow.com. That's theauthorshow.com. And now let the show begin.
Hi, this is Linda Thompson, your host for The Authors Show. Our book, Who Said I Was Up for Adoption?, is a story about a guy, Colin, his gal, Carol, and a dog named Ray. What makes this book so interesting is that it's told from both Colin's and Ray's perspectives. Author Colin Chappell joins us from Oakville, Ontario, Canada, to share his heartwarming story about a rescued dog's second chance. Colin, welcome to the Authors Show.
Oh, thanks, Linda. It's a pleasure. I'm sure this is going to be fun.
Colin, will you give us a quick overview of Who Said I Was Up for Adoption?
Of course. Love to. It's a rags to riches story, really. Ray was a stray in very bad shape. He had a lot of problems, and his perception of the world was very frightening to him. It became a Cinderella story over the 5 years that we've had him. The book covers the first 18 months and all the trials and tribulations. It was a really emotional roller coaster for us. I've been told that you feel sorry for him at the beginning, but you're cheering for him at the end. And unlike most dog stories, he is still alive. We didn't kill him off in the last chapter.
So what inspired you to write a book about your journey with Ray?
Ray, in one word. No, actually, I started blogging stories about Ray, and it got so overwhelming that I thought I could write a book about this guy. I would love to write a book about this guy, and so I did.
Did you write your book with any particular type of reader in mind?
Not when I actually wrote it. Once I got to the point where it was seriously looking like being published, then I had to think, because I had to do some personal promotion. And it's very broad, because really anybody who likes a good dog story would like it. Anybody who's had a dog in their past would like it. Anybody who's considering a dog would probably get a lot of value out of it. Anybody who wants a feel-good story would really like it.
Do you believe there is any other author who may have influenced your writing style?
I haven't done a lot of reading other than technical kind of writings. The biggest influence I've had really is probably Tolkien with the Hobbit series, but then I don't do much creative writing myself. I don't do any fiction. So whether there was a subtle influence from Tolkien, I would doubt it, but it's possible.
In your bio, you say you'd never considered adopting a dog, but have had cats and rabbits in the past. What changed your mind in 2012?
It's a combination of things. I've met a few dogs, usually introduced by Carol, because she has 4 dogs in her history. So she likes dogs. She's very comfortable around them. She introduced me to a few dogs she knows, and they were friendly. They liked to be touched and petted, and that started me thinking, I guess. And then at one time, I decided, well, perhaps I should check this out, but I didn't want to raise Carol's hopes up too high. So actually, I was having secret meetings with our local shelter, discussing, what do I need to know to adopt a dog? I've never had one before. There's a full story around that that's in the book, actually.
Did Carol have some reservations about adopting Ray?
Yes, Carol and the shelter trainers. They had 2 problems. One is because I'm bitten by a German Shepherd in my past, and Ray was most certainly a German Shepherd crossed with something. They thought that might not be a good mix for me. And the other thing is it was going to be a challenge. They could predict that. And he was my first dog. They had strong reservations. They suggested I seriously consider a greyhound, a rescue greyhound, because they're kind of couch potatoes. But it didn't pan out that way.
Why did you want to write Who Said I Was Up for Adoption from both your perspective and from Ray's?
The book started off with, if I remember correctly, it's a dog's life, ? And the intent was to write a book about Ray, but because it's my first dog, I was very receptive to talking with trainers, talking with other dog owners, learning as much as I could, because I knew nothing. I didn't even know how to walk a dog. What do you need to know to walk a dog? And I was very receptive to picking other people's brains. And the more I learned about Ray, the more I thought, well, he's got opinions in all this. And it's much like dealing with friends. You've got to be able to see certain situations from your friend's perspective for it to make any sense. And dogs are no different. And once I started seeing things from Ray's perspective, it added a whole new dimension to the book. I thought, I've got to do this in the book as well.
It's been about 6 years since Ray joined your family. How has it worked out for the both of you, and is Ray still around?
Ray is still around. He's 75 pounds of cuddle when he wants to be. When he wants to be, that's the key. He's lovely. He's not the perfect pet. He's very protective. He still has a few issues. Carol and I haven't had a life without him because one of his major current problems is separation anxiety. He's got so attached to us, he can't be without us. So the only time we can go out on a dinner date is in the summer when places have their open patios. We don't have a life without Ray in the winter.
Oh, my gosh. So even if you decide to go shopping, you have to go one at a time? You can't leave the dog at all?
Depends where we go shopping. Some stores are dog-friendly, but any store relating to food, of course, there's no dogs allowed. So, yeah, our local store, fortunately, is a 2-floor arrangement, and the food is on the upper floor, so we'll walk Ray down there. Then one of us will stay with Ray in the bottom area while the other one goes up and does the shopping. Our whole life has changed.
And that cannot have been easy. There has to be a little bit of resentment there at times. Has that happened to you?
Not really. I think when we took Ray, we know he was going to be a challenge. And so, because I'd never had a dog before, I was very malleable. I didn't know anything. So this was just one of the things I had to adjust to. Here was a dog that we couldn't leave alone. How much do we love him? He's still here.
I loved your book cover. Is the cover of photo one of Ray?
That is Ray, and I love that photo too, which is obviously why I got on the book. It says so much. It gives some indication of his size. He is a big dog to be reckoned with, and that to me, you look into his eyes and there's attitude there, which he displays in ample doses.
Also on your cover, you say your book is, and I quote, a story about one calculating dog and one unsuspecting human, unquote. Would you care to elaborate on that?
Well, he is a very calculating dog. I prefer not to go there at the moment because if I have an opportunity to do a reading from the book, I'd like to cover that area. The one unsuspecting human is obviously me. You couldn't know less about dogs than I did when Ray and I first met.
I read that you're donating all the profits from the book sales to a wonderful organization. Will you please tell us a bit about that?
Yep, that's the Ontario and Oakville Humane Society. They're the people who rescued him. They're the people who put 4 months into trying to get him to be a reasonable candidate for adoption. And their support to us has been incredible. We've had a lot of problems with him, and we've even had trainers come to our house and monitor him, to observe him and see what he's getting up to help us deal with it. Absolutely no charge. We've picked their brains so many times, absolutely no charge. And the best thing of all is Ray loves one of the trainers. So actually, if we want to go out, we do have one option. If this particular trainer is available, she'll come and dog sit. And he loved her.
Is there a special message in Who Said I Was Up for Adoption that you would like readers to remember?
Yeah, really, he adopted me. I was thinking about adopting him. I was a long way from making a decision. It was a dog that I'd met. Yeah, it's a possibility. But actually, he adopted me, and this, again, is in the piece that I'd like to read later on. I get kind of emotional thinking about it.
Well, your opportunity to do that reading is here. Will you share with us an excerpt from your book?
Okay, just to give you the context, this is where Carol and the trainers had both expressed reservations about me adopting Ray. But the story picks up when Carol had a suggestion. She suggested that I should visit Ray at the shelter as often as possible to try and get to know him a little better. And, of course, see how he reacted after a few regular visits. In fact, I saw Ray daily on weekdays for quite a few weeks, took him out for walks, let him freely wander around in the fenced area. When in the fenced area and free to roam, he would generally wander around sniffing the perimeter fence. If he was interrupted by some activity on the other side of the fence, typically another dog going for a walk, he would simply stand there and watch. Was he wishing he was out there? Perhaps he just wanted to go back to his den. He certainly did not show any interest in playing with anything. On one occasion, however, he did something totally unexpected. He was checking out the perimeter fence, as was his habit, when he suddenly stopped and looked straight at me. As I was squatting with my back against the fence, there were no seats around and standing was getting uncomfortable, our eyes would have been at around the same level. He then started walking directly towards me. My thoughts were rather confused because, while his approach seemed rather ominous, I could not rationalize why he would suddenly be aggressive. Based on blind faith that this dog would not hurt me without some reason, and as I had not knowingly given him such reason, I stayed in my squatting position and watched him come closer and closer until he stopped literally inches from my face and looked straight at me. I recall reading somewhere that the eyes are the windows to the soul. If that statement is correct, then our souls connected for a brief moment. And then he gently reached forward, touched his nose to mine, turned and walked away. When I took him back to the shelter staff, I related the experience and asked if I should have been concerned. Their response was quite emotional. He's telling you that he wants to be friends with you. That is so nice. That incident endeared Ray to me. Why did a simple nose touch have such a profound effect? I believe it was because where I've known many animals over the years, this was a new experience. Other animals have expressed tolerance of me, usually based from a need for food or attention, but that simple nose touch was a planned and executed move on Ray's part. He was not only showing that he was comfortable with me, but more importantly, he wanted a relationship with me.
That makes me want to meet Ray really bad. So tell me, where can we learn more about you, and where can we purchase Who Said I Was Up for Adoption?
The book is available in 3 formats, ebook, paperback, and hardcover. Any online book retailer has access to it. I have a blog, meandray.com, and there's a link there which goes direct to Friesen Press in Victoria, BC. They're the people who actually published the book and made it available.
And your blog, once again, is meandray.com. No spaces, correct?
Correct.
Colin, thank you so much for taking time to chat with us today. I've never had a dog, much preferring the independence of cats in my life. However, if anything were to encourage me to adopt a dog, it would certainly be reading your book. Thank you for sharing Ray's story with us, and I do hope that our listeners will be encouraged to check out their local humane society and become the pet parent to at least one animal so in need of love. If you decide to write another book, will you come back and chat with us again?
Absolutely, Linda. It's been a pleasure, and I only hope that my emotional reading there could be understood well.
This heartwarming story of the bond created by a German Shepherd and the owner he chose will keep you turning the pages. It will make you cry, for did you know that dogs can sob? And it will make you laugh. Houdini is no match for Ray. Most of all, it will make you fall in love with a German Shepherd who was given a second chance at life, thanks to a very patient and caring human, Colin. That was part of a very good review I found for Colin's book, and it's a perfect way to close our show today, and I thank you for listening.